Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's National Denim Day, Tony. How you celebrate?
Hey, what do you think?
Okay.
I got on
the
denim
Fonz
underpants
be,
also.
The Fonz
but I do that every
very
day.
disappointed because that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You're trying to, call on your inner Fonz. Who else? James Dean. Those people in your era wore these jackets.
James Dean. That's
Anybody else?
I don't know that I ever had a jean jacket.
I did.
But
70s, early 70s?
I don't know. I had a corduroy jacket sort of like this, but not a jean jacket. But this belongs to our producer Eric Ryder.
Oh.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Sixers are victorious, the Golden Knights are furious, and Big Ben's bank account is bounteous. But we begin today with Damian Lillard. He hit a 37-foot shot at the buzzer last night to beat Oklahoma City and send them out of the playoffs early for a third straight year. After the game, your boy Playoff P, who was guarding Lillard at the time, said, quote, "That's a bad, bad shot. I don't care what anybody says. That's a bad shot," unquote. Wilbon, was it a bad shot?
I'm sorry, didn't the official give it the drop finger for it? That's a good shot? It's a damn good shot. And here's why Playoff P is wrong. He knows he plays in the league. He's got to play defense. He's got to chase guys out. There's 4 or 5 people for whom that is not a bad shot.
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry's one of them.
That's
James Harden's probably another one. And so there's just a...
Klay Thompson, if he's back that far, he's a bigger guy.
Right,
he's a bigger guy. Doesn't go like that.
But, Tony, in real time, I know real time meant nothing to you because most people, America's asleep. I'm not. I watch this shot, and I see a guy hold the ball purposely because he knows there's no dish coming. He is going to shoot this shot on a 6'8" guy who's 6 inches taller than him, who's a great defender.
Except if you don't go out and get him.
He went out and get him, Tony. He couldn't get him.
No, he didn't get him.
He hit that shot.
No, Mike, he didn't get him. Mike,
Tony, I ran around screaming like it was my team,
Damian
and
Lillard
it's not my team.
Has practiced this shot.
He was 4 for 4 on that shot before this, so how can it be a bad shot?
4 for 4 from
30-year-old longer.
This is 37. That's a big difference. Yeah. Mike, he had the ball in his hands with 12 seconds to go. He made no move on the basket whatsoever.
None.
Paul George has him by 6 inches, and he didn't get out on him. And he looks like a dope. All right, he looks like a dope.
He doesn't. He played good defense.
No, he looks like a dope.
You're wrong.
No. The guy was standing outside and would have gone out further, and Paul George didn't get on him.
But he's got to play for the drive. You didn't see this is what happens when you don't see the game.
He didn't.
The previous play, he went down the lane past everybody and made a layup.
The question is it a bad shot?
If there's context.
Mike, if I am a defender and I am guarding someone who has the following 3 options. One is to drive past me.
Which he had just done.
One is to drive and take a 10-footer. And one is to take a 37-foot shot.
You do all of them.
I want him to take a 37-foot shot.
So then it's not bad defense and not getting out on him.
It turned out at 6 inches taller, you got to be a little closer because he made no attempt to take a 10-footer or to drive.
Let's not make this a personal vendetta about your hatred of Playoff P.
No, because
Damian Lillard, as I've been telling you all season, this guy is an all-league player, Tony.
Okay.
He may not be Steph Curry, but he's great. And you know what? Russell Westbrook can eat it.
We're going to get to Russell Westbrook.
Because he flexed, he grimaced, he gave him this the whole series, and he gave him get out. Get out of the playoffs.
The guy made no attempt to do anything but take a very long jump shot. If you're 6 inches taller, you got to be closer because he's not going anywhere. You got to be closer.
He just went somewhere the previous drive.
Not on that play, Mike. 12 seconds. Bop, 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 bop. 12 seconds, not moving.
You know what's going to happen in a game like this? I'm going to call him, wake your butt up.
That's fine.
I'm going to say, Carol, get him up.
What makes you think she'd answer the phone?
Before you, I've got 40 years of experience with that phone call. Now that OKC has been eliminated in the first round for the 3rd consecutive season, now that OKC is 4-12 in the playoffs during that span, and now that Westbrook will be 31 years old to start the next season, it must be asked, what now for the Thunder? Westbrook just suffered through the worst shooting series of his career, and he shot less than 40% each of the last 3 playoffs. Tony, is the window closing on Russ and the Thunder?
Next question.
That's very important.
Right? Next question.
Next question.
Okay. His shooting, I can make a case to blame all of this on Russell Westbrook, which I know will excite you.
No, because I'm not going to do that.
Okay. His shooting percentage has gone down year over year in the playoffs from the regular season. He's regular season 43. He's 41% in the playoffs. He's under 30 the last 3 years when
Under 40.
Under 40, rather, when Kevin Durant isn't there.
Right.
In this particular playoff, in the 4 games that they lost, I'm not going to count the game where he was great, because they won that game. In the 4 games where they lost, he was 29 for 89 for a percentage of 33%. He was from 3, 7 for 28 for a percentage of 25%. That's terrible. That's actually terrible.
Not gonna get it done.
And Damian Lillard got under his skin more than Barry Trammell. Like it was disastrous. It was disastrous for Russell Westbrook. It was disastrous.
It wasn't. I don't want to blame him for the whole thing.
We just said he could eat it 10 seconds ago.
He could eat it because he lost, because he talked garbage.
Okay.
Okay. He ran his mouth. He wasn't Gary Payton because he didn't back it up like that, like Gary used to.
So
do.
what's next?
Gary was funny.
What's next?
What's next is they got to figure out whether or not this formula can get it done. They got 2 great players in Paul. They do.
I don't think he's a
and
great
Russell
player.
Westbrook, Tony, he is, and the numbers tell you otherwise.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
They don't.
And so, because you look at numbers when you want to.
I look
you
at the
make them work
playoffs.
when you want to make them
They
work.
don't win.
They're not. Well, but Paul
They
George's
don't
only
win.
been part of that twice. Durant was part of that. You know, he's great. He was part of that multiple
He's
times
great because he
too.
went somewhere and was the Finals MVP 2 years in a row.
Last night, Charles Barkley came up with an interesting suggestion about what has to happen going forward. That they may need to put somebody else on the ball and have Russ off the ball, which means he would conserve some energy. He wouldn't be
Mike,
doing
they
this
have
one
Westbrook
thing all the
and
time.
George, and they have Steven Adams and Dennis
They're
Schroeder.
capped out too.
And they already are beyond the salary cap, so
Way
they can't
beyond.
make a significant
Way
addition.
beyond, Tony.
So they don't look to have a chance.
They're in the luxury tax situation.
2 other NBA series ended last night. They were non-series against non-teams. Toronto easily eliminated Orlando. And seriously, when I turned into the 76ers-Nets game, just 3 minutes in, the score was actually 20-2, and the play-by-play guy had just said, quote, that is the 14th shot in a row the Nets have missed. So I got out of that disaster. Well, Bob, with the way the Sixers and Raptors are playing right now, which way are you leaning in their upcoming series?
I don't know, Tony.
Come on.
You know, I mean, this
Leaning.
is real. This
Leaning.
should be unlike this series, which had 1 good game. The next series, maybe 2 good games. The next series should have a lot of good games, Tony. I think I'm leaning toward the Sixers. I think one of the things that intrigues me. I know there are flaws. I get it. First of all, if you don't know whether Embiid is actually going to play until game time, his teammates are going to start going, What is that?
Right.
Entertains you and me, but you know it's kind of hard to live with. But Philadelphia has the best starting 5 in the NBA, other than Golden State. And let's face it, you depend on your stars in the playoffs, and Philadelphia has them. So does Toronto. I'm not rooting for anything in particular. I'm rooting for a great series.
Can I bring one thing up? And Charles alluded to this yesterday when he said that Ben Simmons really can't play
This
against
is an interesting
Kawhi
thing.
Leonard.
This is.
In the 3 games that Kawhi Leonard played this year when Toronto played Philadelphia.
He was 3-0 for
Toronto won all 3 games. Ben Simmons had 24 turnovers. That's way too many turnovers in 3 games.
11 turnovers in
so
1 game.
if that persists, they have no chance. I would like to say this. I am leaning towards Toronto.
You are?
Which somehow you have classified as a Midwestern city.
Midwest.
Even though,
Midwest.
according to the longitudinal lines
Midwest.
of the universe,
Midwest.
it is actually further east
Than
than
what?
Charleston, South Carolina,
about them.
and Miami.
That's the South. I don't care about them.
So Miami doesn't qualify as being in the
Toronto
East.
is a Midwest. Let's get somebody from TSN and ask them what they identify with most.
Were you
the
a-
Midwest or the East?
Were you a geography major in college?
I
just
certainly
wondered.
wasn't, and neither were you,
I was an
Mr.
English
James
major.
Dean.
I was an English major.
Will you take that off and put on some sensible adult clothing?
I will for the next segment.
Tony, if sleep took you out before Dame Lillard's shot,
You know, when somebody calls somebody Dame, I think
Dame.
of Dame Judi Dench. I don't think
that's okay.
of this
They're
guy.
both big stars
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
You were certainly snoring before San Jose came back
Absolutely.
from a 3-goal deficit in the final 10.5 to eliminate last year's darling and yours, the Vegas Golden Knights.
No, my darling with the Caps. but go
One
ahead.
5-minute major against Knights for slamming Sharks captain Joe Pavelski turned the game, Tony.
Yeah.
San Jose scored 4 times during those 5 minutes, which one Golden Knight called, quote, a bleeping joke, close quote. Tone, joke or choke?
So let's say it is a bad penalty, and I will concede that it is a bad penalty because it is reactive after the fact and it's not proactive immediately, and I understand that. You cannot, nobody has ever done this, give up 4 goals in 5 minutes in a playoff, in Game 7.
The worst penalty kill of all time.
This is such an abysmal choke that even if you're right that it's a bad penalty, the choking is horrific. Now, they caught up. And then they went into overtime, and they lost in overtime.
I will just say this.
Horrific choke.
I jump on you for turning off things too early. It's
did
3-0. And I'm sorry, the
over.
Portland OKC game is a thriller, and I'm not checking back on that.
No,
when I went back, it was 4-4. Like, what the hell happened here? The penalty's bad, Tony, because also, and Matt Kelleher and I were just consulting the NHL rule book on this. I'm not sure we have it exactly, but Tony, they could have called 2 minors. They could have called double minor. They could have called 2.
There was blood on the ice,
okay,
right?
But you can call double minor in that situation. And by the way, then you can't score 4. You're going to have some even-handed play. Even strength play, you're not going to have just 5 minutes of penalty kill.
Mike, it's game 7.
Okay, but that's unfair.
Clear the puck. Do something. We've never seen anything like We haven't seen anything like this
It's
ever.
bad a team gets taken out like that in game 7.
It's a terrible
This wasn't
choke.
a shot. It was a penalty.
It's a terrible
At least
choke.
Lillard, he took the other team out himself.
And Vegas last year was in the finals.
Yeah.
But
and by the way, don't try to act like you didn't like Vegas last year.
I liked the Caps
You liked
more.
them. No, you liked them until you got to the Caps.
I like
and then
Caps.
You switched bandwagons,
That's right.
which is embarrassing.
No, I went to the team in the city where I
Islander
live.
people who are waiting on you to be on their bandwagon.
I don't know. I got to think about that.
He's a traitorous dog.
Ben Roethlisberger got a 2-year extension to his contract today that will reportedly give him $63 million more and keep him with the Steelers until he is 40 years old. Wilbon, are the Steelers smart for betting on Roethlisberger this way?
Yeah, who else I got to bet on? They're going to bet on Terry Bradshaw? Is he walking through that door? I mean...
Actually, he could.
He might, but he's usually in the studio door.
Yeah.
He's walking in. Ben Roethlisberger's won 2 Super Bowls and taken them to a 3rd. So to me, this is a no-brainer. Now, look, in pro football, Tony, it ain't like you're not wed to contracts forever and ever and ever. You just get rid of somebody. You pay your guaranteed money up front. Big Ben's going to get his 37, whatever. It's good. He's earned it. It's a big fat smooch.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. You took us to 3 Super Bowls. But if they don't think he can play at 40 or even 39, they're going to get rid of him.
That's right.
So this is not a hard bet.
Sometimes you can't get rid of people. The Giants seem to not be able to get rid of people.
They can.
But I will say
they're too lame to do it.
Let's ask ourselves, who are the Steelers right now? Because they're not Antonio Brown.
No.
And they're not Le'Veon Bell.
No.
The identity of the Pittsburgh Steelers
Big Ben, baby.
is Ben Roethlisberger.
That's right.
Okay, he's been a very good quarterback for a very long time.
Hall of Fame quarterback.
I think that's a 50-50 call, but you may very well be right. Look what the Seahawks just did with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
They said, we got this guy. We don't think we can get better than this guy. So we're going to give this guy money. I'm not sure there's anybody out there that the Steelers can get that is as good as or certainly better than Ben Roethlisberger.
There isn't.
So this, and you're also saying to the 2 players who left who were critical of Ben, we're saying, get out of here. We don't care about you. We're sticking with Ben Roethlisberger.
They missed the playoffs with at least one of those guys, with Antonio Brown. I realized that Le'Veon Bell had already bailed.
He wasn't there.
But here's the other thing, Tony. Russell Wilson, I will say this, Russell Wilson can help make up for the players you can't sign because you don't have as much money, which is why the Seahawks seem to be clearing out big salaries now. Big Ben may have to do that as well.
Let's take a break, but coming up, are the Warriors or Rockets more likely to lose at home tonight?
And are the Celtics or the Bruins